everyone. Hope you're having a groovy afternoon. Welcome to HQ Trivia. I'm Beric Livingstone. You've probably seen the news of the guys who pranked their local McDonald's by putting up a giant poster of themselves on one of the walls and how it wasn't spotted for 51 days. I love a good prank. Who doesn't? Like the time that a rhinoceros was elected to a city council in Brazil, or when Burger King said they were launching a Whopper for left-handed people with the gherkins and things rotated 180 degrees and loads of people asked for one, or when the BBC ran an April Fool's joke in the 1950s saying that spaghetti was harvested from trees and people wrote in to say, how can we grow it at home? And the BBC told them to put some strands in a tin of tomatoes and hope for the best. When I was about 6, my friends and I thought it'd be a good idea to make the sinks in the school corridor overflow so that our friends would get wet feet. But what actually happened was that the staff room underneath was flooded. The school was not happy. The best pranks don't hurt anyone, and some, of course, have a purpose. The Brazilian rhinoceros was a protest against corruption. The McDonald's dudes were highlighting the lack of Asian American faces they saw, though they did give props to Crazy Rich Asians. And of course, we had one of the stars of the movie as a guest on last night's game. Hope you caught that. On the other hand, my school prank served absolutely no purpose at all, other than getting me in deep trouble. Nothing funny about this afternoon's game, though. This is some serious trivia. And of course, you can win serious cash. £1,000, split between however many winners we have. You have to answer all 12 of our questions correctly. They start easy, but they do get harder. 10 seconds to tap the answer to each, starting with Q1. Which of these is an online communications application? 7up, Socks, Skype. Hope we have some good communication between the eyes, the brain, and the fingers today. If you went for 7up, then you'd better have a 1up at the ready. Better at capturing your face than your feet, it's Skype. Yes, do believe the Skype. 55,135 of you did. 120 people did go for socks. You'll have to pull your socks up next time. Skype was launched in 2003 and has been allowing us to do conference calls in our pants ever since. Q2. Which of these artists gave their name to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Tracy Emin, Banksy, Michelangelo. These guys started off as a self-funded comic book paid for by a tax rebate and a loan from their uncle. And then 3 years later, they had a TV show, billions of dollars in merchandise later. Legendary. Now, the state of her bed may suggest otherwise, but Emin doesn't live in a sewer. The only one getting to shout cowabunga, it's Michelangelo. Michelangelo, yes, you got that right, 51,657 of you. The turtles got their names from a book of Renaissance artists, so Banksy missed the boat by a mere 500 years or so. Q. Well, before we do another Q, let me tell you something. Tonight, we have another of our amazing theme nights. Sharon has just been hosting the AIM Awards Association of Independent Music, and she's hosting tonight's music-themed show, so don't miss that. Meanwhile, just time for a quick shout out to Morgie, Moo, Mish and Cheeky Joe. I love those names. Good luck to you. And now, on to Q3. What does the I stand for in the television network ITV? International Independent Information. ITV, made up of lots of franchises, they used to have separate companies for weekend and weekday. I think London's the only one that still has that. Anyway, it's been turning our eyes square since the 1950s, but what does their I stand for? Making Beyoncé proud, it's independent. And Telly Savvy, 37,505 of you, but yes, I thought this might catch a few of you out. Almost 10,000 going for international, 3,500 going for information. No, it is independent. ITV is the oldest commercial broadcaster in the UK, giving us our first advert in 1955. Thanks, ITV. Q4. Which of the following is not the title of a book by David Walliams? Gangster Granny, Awful Auntie, Magic Mum. Why is he called Walliams, you may ask? Well, he was originally called Williams, but under equity rules, you can't have 2 actors with the same name, so he changed it to Walliams. He sure likes alliteration, but which of these covers doesn't have his name on it? The Magic Mike sequel none of us have been asking for. It's Magic Mum. Yes, abracadabra, 22,746 if you got that right. Yeah, we lost 15,000 on Q4. That doesn't always happen. Quite a toughie, this quiz. Maybe there will be a big payout. Let's see how it goes. 22,746, getting that right. Bored of being hilarious and swimming the channel, Walliams started churning out kids' books in 2008. Q5. Of these actors, which one has starred in the most movies directed by Quentin Tarantino? Christoph Waltz, Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson. Speaking of children's authors, Tarantino adapted a Roald Dahl story for his segment in 4 Rooms. It was one of Dahl's grown-up stories, but anyway. He's starred in all his own films, but which of this lot has cashed the most checks from Quentin? The father of F-bombs, it's Samuel L. Jackson. And treat yourself to a Royale with cheese if you're one of the 13,588 who got that right. Jackson has starred in 6 Tarantino movies, more than any other actor, except for Quentin, of course. Q6. In golf, what is the name of a stroke that a player is allowed to replay? Gilligan, Mulligan, Gulliver. Samuel L. Jackson is a keen golfer. There's plenty of good links in this show. Apparently he has it written into every contract that he has to play golf twice a week. Now, if you went for Gulliver, then you're about to feel very small here. More likely to get you off an island than stuck on one, it's Mulligan. Mulligan. Doing a mulligan. 9,887 people got that right. 4,500 eliminated. The term is believed to be named after a Canadian golfer who was either very charitable or absolutely pants at golf. Q7. What plan did the US Army consider as a response to the Soviet Sputnik launch? Send Elvis into space, scrap NASA, blow up the moon. Sputnik, the first man-made satellite, it was the size of a basketball, went around the world for 23 days going beep, and then it exploded. Anyway, I'm sure it was worth it. The Cold War was in full swing, but how did the Americans plan to warm it up? Going full Bond villain, they hatched a plan to blow up the moon. Lunatics! 3,326 people got that right. We lost 7,000. I call that LBB, a little bit beastly. They hoped the explosion would intimidate the Russians, but then they decided to just land on the moon instead. Good call. Q8. Which of these elements forms part of the chemical formula of glucose? Sodium, hydrogen, helium. Glucose gets its name from old French word meaning sweet, like when you first press wine, you get the sweet taste there. And the other bit, the O's bit, is what you'd call a carbohydrate. It's a chemical indicator. Anyway, let's not bother about that. Lucasade have been banging on about it for years, but which of these geezers is part of Team Glucose? The most welcoming of elements. It's hydrogen. Hydrogen, sweet, for 2,435. If you got that right, we lost 1,800 there. Glucose has the chemical formula C6H12O6. I'm sure there's a chess joke in there somewhere. Anyway, 2,500 have shown their brilliancy. On to Q9. What was the first British TV period drama series to be broadcast in colour on the BBC? Upstairs, Downstairs, The Forsyte Saga, Vanity Fair. And speaking of pranks, back in the day, on April Fool's Day one time, the Swedes told the public that if you wanted to turn a black and white set into a colour set, all you had to do was put a pair of tights over the top and then move from side to side while you were watching it. Apparently a lot of people did that, but it was a hoax. They're all set in black and white times, but who was the first to get a splash of colour? The first period drama to really pop, it was Vanity Fair. Yeah, and it starred Thelma Barlow, who went on to be Mavis and Corrie. Oh my goodness, the first savage question of the day. 494 if you're getting that right, but 2,157 eliminated on Q9. 293 people using extra lives to get back in. A very smart play there. Let's go on to Q10. Which of these fruits did not originate in Asia? Kiwis, watermelons, peaches. 3 lovely fruits. I had a chocolate pudding fruit last year when I went to the rainforest. It's lovely when it's ripe. When it's unripe, it's toxic, and they use it as fish poison. So you've got to be careful. We all know kiwis come from New Zealand, but their namesake actually came from China. Turning your mouth into a seedy machine gun, it's the watermelons. The watermelons, the right answer. 212 people got it right. Another one that was LBB. 575 eliminated. They may grow square ones in Japan, but watermelons originate from the sunny soil of southern Africa. 2 to go. Keep it together. Here's Q11. Which of these countries has the largest population? Canada, Colombia, Cameroon. Yeah, they've been taking censuses since Roman times. Now they use a bit of census and a bit of sampling. Who has the largest population according to those measures? Canada has by far the most space to live in, but who has 50 million people living in it? Coming off second place when they played England in July, but in first place here it's Colombia. Colombia, yes, one of the most biodiverse countries in the world, 140 people, getting that one right. Well done, you lot. Okay, coffee beans at the ready because we're brewing up the final round. Yeah, espressos for everybody. 140 people getting that right, 12 people using extra lives to get back in, £1,000 still to play for. One more question. Q12. Who disguised himself as a butterfly collector when he was a spy for the British Army? Lord Baden-Powell, Rudyard Kipling, Winston Churchill. Who adopted lepidopteral camouflage for espionage? The only three names not in consideration for the next James Bond, but who did some stellar spy work of his own. His butterfly collection was very impressive, but Winston was never a spy. He did love butterflies and he had a butterfly house at his family home. However, this man wrote books about my life as a spy, and he drew maps of armaments and things disguised as butterflies, also founded the Boy Scouts, but never being found out. It's Baden-Powell for the win. And prepared for victory, 64 winners this afternoon. 64 of you. That is more than I thought we would have after we had a couple of beastly ones and one super savage. So, congratulations to those who are taking home £15 and 63 pence, or £15 and 62 pence, depending on how the cookie has crumbled. So to Jabberwonga, to Flo 1408 with a nice hat, to Lifeguard of Love, who looks a little bit crazed. I don't know who's in the water there, maybe some sharks. To Spicy AF, digging the Shrekness there. To someone who's on the Pampers ad, well, you've done very well for your age. Excellent work, everyone, and great to see you as always. I'm Beric Livingstone. You can find me on the gram or the Itter. Tell me how you did. Let me have your shout requests, or just say hi. Our next show is coming up tonight. It's music theme night, and it will be a hit, so don't miss it. I'll see you again very soon. Till then, take care and have a great day. Bye.